Welcome back to the Echoes of Ihsan Podcast.
It's great to be here.
We're taking a deep dive into some fascinating material you've shared.
Yes.
Excerpts from the Sunan al Tirmidhi, Volume 6.
The Sunan al Tirmidhi.
Think of this as your personal shortcut to understanding the core insights of this collection of prophetic traditions and commentary.
A rich text covering a wide range of topics.
I'm particularly interested in the section on supplications.
And what we'll do is try to extract those golden nuggets of wisdom that you can apply to your own life.
There's something so powerful about these prayers, and I'm curious to see what specific examples we find in the Sunan al Tirmidhi.
What's fascinating about these supplications is their practicality. They're not just abstract prayers, but tools to help navigate the challenges and joys of daily life. For instance, there's a beautiful supplication for protection while traveling. It goes, Allahumma inni na'udhu bika an wata safari wa kabate man kolab uswin manzar fi al-hal wa al-mal. This translates to, O Allah, I seek refuge in you from the hardships of travel, the sorrow of return, and from evil sights in family and wealth.
I see.
Imagine reciting that before a journey.
Yeah.
It's like asking for a divine shield against the uncertainties that lie ahead.
It's interesting how specific it is, addressing not just the journey itself, but the potential anxieties of returning home and finding things changed.
Right.
It's like a holistic approach to seeking protection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are supplications for all sorts of situations, seeking forgiveness, asking for good health and well-being guidance when making tough decisions. It's like a spiritual toolbox filled with precisely what you need.
And what about the emphasis on sincerity and humility in supplication? I feel like this Sunan Tirmidhi doesn't just provide the words, but also guides us on the inner state we need to cultivate when we pray.
Absolutely. It reminds us that supplication is about turning to Allah with a genuine heart, acknowledging our dependence on Him and trusting in His infinite wisdom and mercy. It's not just about reciting words, but about fostering a deep, meaningful relationship with our Creator. There's a hadith in the Sunan al Tirmidhi where the Prophet Muhammad says, supplication is the essence of worship.
I see.
This really underscores the importance of cultivating a mindset of humility, sincerity, and reliance on Allah when we make dua.
It's almost like these supplications become less about asking for specific things and more about aligning ourselves with the divine will.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And I think that's a key takeaway for us as we explore these supplications.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting what we want, but about surrendering to what Allah has planned for us while still actively seeking His guidance and support.
So if I were to try and incorporate these supplications into my own life, where should I even begin?
I would start by choosing a few that resonate with you the most. Perhaps one for protection, one for seeking guidance, and one for expressing gratitude. Memorize them, understand their meanings, and try to recite them with sincerity throughout your day. You can say them during your formal prayers or at any time you feel the need to connect with Allah.
That's helpful advice.
Yeah.
It's like we're building a personal connection with these words, making them our own rather than just reciting them rotely.
Exactly.
And speaking of deeper connections, the Sunan al Tirmidhi doesn't just focus on supplications.
Right.
There are also profound insights into Allah's attributes, His mercy, wrath, forgiveness, knowledge, all woven into these narratives and teachings.
You're absolutely right. And what I find fascinating is how the Sunan al Tirmidhi presents these attributes in such a balanced and nuanced way. It's not about emphasizing one over the other, but about understanding their interconnectedness and how they manifest in our world.
I'm intrigued. Can you give me some specific examples from the text that illustrate this point?
Certainly. There's a powerful hadith where Allah boasts about those who remember Him to the angels. It says, Allah Almighty and Sublime says, I am as my servant thinks I am with him when he makes mention of me. If he makes mention of me to himself, I make mention of him to myself. And if he makes mention of me in an assembly, I make mention of him in an assembly better than it.
Okay.
This hadith really showcases the intimate relationship we can have with the divine and how much Allah values our remembrance of Him.
Right.
It emphasizes that our perception of Allah and our efforts to remember Him have a direct impact on how He interacts with us.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It almost makes you feel like your connection with Allah is a two-way street, where your sincere efforts are met with divine grace.
Exactly. And then there's that well-known statement that Allah's mercy prevails over His wrath.
Right.
It's a profoundly reassuring message, reminding us of Allah's boundless compassion and forgiveness, even when we err or stray from the right path. It encourages us to always turn to him with hope,
Yeah.
even when we feel unworthy or distant.
It's like a beacon of light reminding us that no matter how far we may have strayed, the door to forgiveness and divine mercy is always open.
Precisely. These examples show how the Sunan al Tirmidhi encourages us to ponder these attributes.
Yeah. And how they resonate with our own understanding of God.
It's not just about accepting these concepts passively, but engaging with them on a deeper level, exploring what they mean to us personally.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's about grappling with these profound concepts, wrestling with the big questions, and seeking a deeper understanding that goes beyond simple definitions. For example, how do we reconcile Allah's mercy with his justice? How do we grapple with the concept of divine wrath while holding on to the belief in Allah's infinite love?
Those are big questions, and
Yeah.
I appreciate how the Sunan al Tirmidhi doesn't shy away from them.
Yeah.
It's not about providing easy answers,
Right.
but prompting us to go on our own intellectual and spiritual journeys.
Absolutely. It encourages us to engage in thoughtful contemplation, to seek knowledge from authentic sources, and to continue refining our understanding of these complex concepts throughout our lives.
And it's not just about our personal understanding.
Right.
I imagine understanding Allah's attributes also has implications for how we behave,
Yeah.
how we interact with the world around us. You're absolutely right. If Allah's mercy is all-encompassing, shouldn't that inspire us to be more merciful in our own lives?
Yeah.
If Allah's wrath is a reality, shouldn't that motivate us to avoid actions that would displease him? It's about bridging the gap between belief and action, between knowledge and practice.
So it's about translating these abstract concepts into tangible ways of being in the world,
Right.
embodying them in our interactions with others, trying to reflect the divine qualities we learn about.
Exactly. It's about striving to live a life that's consistent with our understanding of Allah's attributes, aligning our actions with our beliefs.
And speaking of inspiration, I'm also struck by how the Sunan al Tirmidhi brings to life the stories of the prophets and companions.
Yes.
These aren't just historical accounts, but narratives filled with lessons and virtues that we can learn from and apply to our own lives.
What's captivating is how these stories humanize these towering figures of faith. We see their struggles, their triumphs, their moments of weakness, and their unwavering devotion to Allah. It reminds us that they were real people who face real challenges just like we do.
It makes them relatable, showing us that even those closest to the prophet weren't perfect,
Right.
but they were constantly striving to be better.
Yes. And by witnessing their journeys, we learn about the importance of repentance, forgiveness, and continuous improvement.
Let's talk about some specific examples. Which stories stood out to you in the text?
Well, the story of Prophet Ibrahim's supplication for Makkah is incredibly moving. It highlights his deep love for this sacred city and his unwavering faith in Allah's power to bless and protect it. He prays, "My Lord, make this a secure city and provide its people with fruits, those of them who believe in Allah and the last day."
Wow.
This supplication speaks volumes about his concern for the well-being of the people and his trust in Allah's provision.
It's a supplication that resonates with Muslims even today, a testament to the enduring power of prayer and the legacy of the prophets.
Then there's the story of Ibn Maktum, the blind man, who approached the Prophet Muhammad seeking guidance.
Okay.
The Prophet was engaged in a conversation with some prominent leaders of Quraysh,
Yeah.
and he momentarily frowned and turned away when Ibn Maktum interrupted. Later, Allah revealed verses of the Qur'an reprimanding the Prophet for his behavior, emphasizing the importance of treating all people with respect and giving precedence to those seeking knowledge.
Right.
It's a poignant reminder that we should never prioritize worldly status or social standing over the needs of those seeking spiritual guidance.
It's a story that prompts us to examine our own biases and strive to create spaces of welcome and accessibility for all, regardless of their abilities or social status.
Absolutely. The Sunan al Tirmidhi is also filled with accounts of the companions, both men and women.
Yeah.
Their virtues are truly inspiring: steadfast faith, unwavering loyalty, incredible generosity, and a commitment to justice and truth.
They set a high bar for living a life pleasing to Allah, demonstrating how faith can be translated into action.
And the text doesn't shy away from their human flaws.
Right.
We see moments of disagreement, even jealousy.
Yeah.
But through those, we learn about repentance and the constant struggle to be better.
It's those imperfections that make them real, reminding us that spiritual growth is a journey, not a destination.
Precisely. They teach us about seeking knowledge,
Yeah.
standing up for what's right, and prioritizing our relationship with Allah above all else.
So as we delve deeper into these stories, I encourage you to reflect.
Yes.
What qualities resonate with you? What lessons can you apply to your life? How can you embody their virtues in your own journey?
It's about active engagement, taking those lessons and internalizing them,
Right.
making them a part of who you are.
And speaking of active engagement, there's a visually stunning hadith about the creation of earth and the mountains that I'd love to discuss.
Classic. It's so powerful the way it describes the earth trembling and unstable until the mountains are placed upon it.
It's like this cosmic drama unfolding,
Oh, yeah.
and I remember how it builds this sense of awe and wonder at the vastness of creation.
Yeah.
It mentions mountains, then iron, then fire, then water, each stronger than the last.
Right.
It's a beautiful depiction of the hierarchy of strength in creation.
And then it culminates with the most surprising revelation that the son of Adam, the human being, possesses a strength that surpasses even these mighty forces.
It's not brute force, right?
Sure.
It's the son of Adam's capacity for hidden charity.
Yeah.
Those acts of giving done purely for Allah's sake, without any desire for recognition.
You've got it.
Wow.
It completely redefines the concept of strength. It's
Right.
not about dominance or control, but about inner strength, moral fortitude that allows us to act with pure, selfless intention. It speaks to the potential for good that lies within every human being.
This hadith is packed with layers of meaning. What questions does it spark for you? What does it reveal about Allah's power and wisdom? How does it connect to the concept of balance and order in the universe?
Those are great questions to reflect on. It makes you think about our place in this grand scheme of creation and the profound responsibility that comes with the strength we've been given.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into the Sunan al Tirmidhi,
We have.
the power of supplication, the
It's
attributes of Allah,
been a fascinating journey so far.
the inspiring stories of the prophets and companions, and even the creation of the earth and the mountains.
And we've only just begun.
We'll continue to unearth the wisdom of the Sunan al Tirmidhi in our next part. Stay with us.
Yes, definitely stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into Volume 6 of the Sunan al Tirmidhi.
It's been an incredible journey so far, exploring the depths of this
Yes.
incredible collection of prophetic traditions and commentary.
We're uncovering layers upon layers of meaning with each hadith we discuss.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly excited about delving into the emphasis on the inner dimensions of faith.
The Sunan al Tirmidhi doesn't just focus on outward actions.
Right.
It goes much deeper,
Yeah,
exploring the qualities of the heart sincerity
it does.
and cultivating a strong spiritual connection with Allah.
It's about recognizing that true faith isn't just about following rules and rituals, but transforming our inner selves, purifying our hearts,
Right.
and aligning our intentions with the will of Allah.
That reminds me of the hadith where Allah boasts about those who remember him to the angels.
Yes.
Such a powerful image of the intimate relationship we can cultivate with the divine.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of dhikr, the remembrance of Allah, as a way to purify our hearts and draw closer to Him. And it's not just about formal practices of dhikr.
Yeah.
It's about integrating the remembrance of Allah into every aspect of our lives.
So it's not just about praying 5 times a day or making supplications at specific times.
It's about cultivating a state of constant awareness,
Right.
a heart that's always turned towards Allah no matter what we're doing.
Yeah.
Think about it like this. You might have a loved one who's far away. Even though you're not physically with them, they're constantly in your thoughts. You might remember a shared joke, a special moment, or simply feel a longing to be with them. Dhikr is similar. It's about cultivating that constant awareness of Allah's presence in your life, remembering His blessings, and turning to Him in every situation.
That makes so much sense. It's about making our entire lives an act of worship, not just compartmentalizing our faith into specific times and places. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi offers some really practical guidance on how to cultivate this interconnection.
Absolutely. There are hadiths that emphasize the importance of sincerity in our actions, reminding us that our deeds are only as good as our intentions.
Right.
For instance, there's a hadith in which the Prophet Muhammad linear said, actions are according to intentions, and everyone will get what was intended.
Wow.
This means that even if you perform a seemingly good deed like giving charity, if your intention isn't pure,
I see.
if you're doing it for show or to gain praise,
Yeah.
then you won't receive the full reward from Allah. Your heart has to be in it.
So even if we're doing all the right things, if our hearts aren't in it, if we're not doing them for the sake of Allah, then they lose their value.
Precisely. It's like offering a gift you don't really care about. The recipient might appreciate the gesture,
I see.
but it lacks that genuine heartfelt connection. The same applies to our actions in Islam.
Yeah.
Allah knows what's in our hearts.
Yeah.
And He values sincerity above all else.
I've heard the saying, make every action an act of worship.
Yes.
And now I'm starting to understand what that truly means.
And there are hadiths that teach us about the importance of purifying our hearts from negative qualities like envy,
Right.
arrogance, and greed.
Because these inner poisons can really eat away at our spiritual well-being
Absolutely.
and prevent us from experiencing the true sweetness of faith.
It's like planting a beautiful garden but forgetting to weed it. Those negative qualities, if left unchecked, can choke the life out of our spiritual growth. Imagine a person who's consumed by envy.
Yeah.
They're constantly comparing themselves to others, feeling resentful of their successes.
And unable to appreciate their own blessings.
Wow.
This envy not only poisons their own heart,
Okay.
but also affects their relationships with others. They might backbite gossip,
Yeah.
or even try to sabotage the success of those they envy.
That's such a vivid analogy.
It is, isn't it?
It's so easy to see how those negative emotions can create this ripple effect,
Right.
impacting not just our inner state, but also our interactions with the world around us.
Exactly. It's like a disease that spreads and infects everything it touches.
I see.
And the Sunan al Tirmidhi reminds us that cleansing the heart is an ongoing process.
Right. Yeah.
We need to be vigilant, aware of those negative tendencies that arise, and actively work to purify our hearts.
It's like taking out the trash, right?
It is.
We can't just let it pile up. We need to regularly dispose of those negative thoughts and emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like taking out the trash creates a cleaner and more pleasant environment in our homes, purifying our hearts creates a more peaceful and receptive space within us.
This allows us to connect with Allah more deeply and experience the true beauty and sweetness of faith.
It's not just about cleansing, though, right? It's
Sure.
also about filling our hearts with positive qualities.
Yes.
Like love, compassion, gratitude, and humility. These are the virtues that nourish our souls and draw us closer to Allah.
You're absolutely right. It's about cultivating a heart that's soft and receptive.
Right.
A heart that's filled with love for Allah and His creation. It's about embodying those qualities that Allah loves.
Okay.
Kindness, generosity, forgiveness, patience, and humility.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
You are.
The outward actions, the inner intentions,
Yes.
and the constant effort to purify and elevate our hearts.
And this interconnectedness between our inner and outer selves is a recurring theme throughout the Sunan al Tirmidhi. It's so relevant today as we navigate a world that often prioritizes external appearances over internal substance.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, to focus on achieving success, accumulating wealth,
It is.
and projecting a certain image to the world.
But the Sunan al Tirmidhi reminds us that true fulfillment comes from within.
Right.
It's about nurturing our souls, cultivating a strong connection with Allah,
Yeah.
and aligning our lives with His guidance. It's like building a house.
Okay.
You can focus on the exterior, making it look grand and impressive. But if the foundation is weak, the whole structure will eventually crumble.
I see.
Similarly, if we neglect our inner selves, our spiritual foundation,
Yeah.
then no amount of outward success or material possessions can bring us lasting happiness.
That's a powerful analogy. It makes you realize that we need to prioritize our inner development just as much,
It does, doesn't it?
if not more than our outward achievement.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, that harmony between our worldly responsibilities and our spiritual aspirations. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi provides us with a roadmap for achieving that balance.
And it's in those quiet moments of reflection, of dhikr, of sincere prayer and supplication, that we can tap into that deep well of spiritual nourishment
Yes.
that sustains us through life's challenges.
You're absolutely right. Those moments of stillness, of connecting with Allah, are like recharging our spiritual batteries.
Yeah.
They provide us with the strength, the clarity, and the peace we need to face whatever comes our way. It's like taking a break from the noise and chaos of the world
Right.
to reconnect with our true selves, with our purpose, and with the one who created us.
You know, I think it's worth taking a moment to appreciate the profound impact that a collection like the Sunan al Tirmidhi has had on Muslims for centuries.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a historical document.
Right.
It's a living, breathing source of guidance that continues to shape our understanding of Islam
Yeah.
and inspire us to live lives of meaning and purpose. It's like a wellspring of wisdom that never runs dry.
And it's a reminder that we're part of a much larger story, a lineage of faith that stretches back to the Prophet Muhammad and beyond.
Yes.
We're inheritors of this rich tradition.
We are.
And it's our responsibility to study it, to understand it,
It is.
and to live it in a way that honors its legacy.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's like receiving a precious heirloom that's been passed down through generations.
Wow.
We have a duty to cherish it, to preserve it, and to ensure that it continues to benefit future generations.
And one of the ways we honor that legacy is by ensuring that these teachings are accessible to everyone.
Absolutely.
It's about sharing this wisdom, breaking down complex concepts into understandable language, and making it relevant to the challenges we face in the modern world.
That's something we're so passionate about here at the Echoes of Ihsan podcast.
Yeah.
Creating a space where these profound teachings can come alive.
Right.
And inspire listeners to deepen their own spiritual journeys. It's about making this knowledge accessible, engaging, and relevant to our everyday lives.
It's about bridging the gap between the classical texts and contemporary life.
It is.
Showing how these ancient wisdoms can illuminate our paths.
Yes.
And help us navigate the complexities of the world around us.
And speaking of complexities, one of the recurring themes in the Sunan al Tirmidhi that stands out to me is the emphasis on seeking knowledge. It's presented as a fundamental obligation for every Muslim.
Right.
Not just scholars or religious leaders.
And it's not just about acquiring knowledge for knowledge's sake. It's about using that knowledge to better ourselves, to strengthen our faith, to make informed decisions.
It is.
And to contribute to the well-being of our communities.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that knowledge is a powerful tool that can be used for good or for ill.
The Sunan al Tirmidhi guides us to seek knowledge from authentic sources,
Right.
to approach it with humility,
Yeah.
and to apply it with wisdom and discernment.
There's so much misinformation out there, especially in today's digital age. It's crucial to be discerning about where we get our information from.
It is.
And to ensure that we're grounding our understanding in authentic sources.
Think about it like this. You wouldn't take medical advice from someone who hasn't studied medicine, would you? Similarly, when it comes to matters of faith, we need to be careful about who we're learning from and where we're getting our information.
Right.
The Sunan al Tirmidhi emphasizes the importance of seeking knowledge from qualified scholars, people who have dedicated their lives to studying these texts and can provide accurate interpretations and guidance. These scholars can help us navigate the complexities of religious texts, provide context and historical background, and address any doubts or misunderstandings we might have.
So it's about approaching knowledge with humility, recognizing that we don't know everything.
Right.
And being open to learning from those who have greater expertise.
You've got it. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi itself serves as a model for how to approach knowledge. It's a collection of hadiths carefully compiled and categorized with explanations and commentary to aid in understanding.
Wow.
It's a testament to the scholarly rigor and dedication that went into preserving and transmitting these sacred teachings.
It's a reminder that seeking knowledge is a lifelong journey. It's not about reaching a certain level of understanding and then stopping. It's about continuous learning, growth, and refinement.
Exactly. It's like climbing a mountain. You might reach a certain peak.
Yeah.
But there are always higher peaks to conquer, new vistas to explore. The pursuit of knowledge is an ongoing adventure, and there's always something new to discover, something to challenge our assumptions, and something to deepen our understanding.
And it's a journey that we're all on together. We learn from teachers, from scholars,
We do.
from our communities, and even from each other.
Yeah.
And as we share our knowledge,
You're right.
we enrich our collective understanding and strengthen the bonds of faith that unite us.
It's like a tapestry that we're weaving together. Each thread representing a different piece of knowledge, a different perspective, a different experience. As we share our threads, the tapestry becomes richer, more vibrant, and more beautiful.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It really captures the collaborative nature of seeking knowledge.
It does.
And the importance of sharing what we learn with others.
Yeah.
And speaking of sharing, I'm curious to hear more about the guidance the Sunan al Tirmidhi offers on navigating the challenges and dilemmas that are inherent to the human experience.
It's like a compass that helps us find our way through those turbulent waters.
I see.
Providing direction and solace when we need it most. For instance, there are numerous hadiths that deal with the inevitability of death.
Right.
And the importance of preparing for the afterlife.
It reminds us that this world is temporary and that our ultimate destination is with Allah. It encourages us to live in a way that earns Allah's pleasure and provides guidance on how to do that.
Exactly. It emphasizes the importance of good deeds, sincere repentance,
Yeah.
and prioritizing our relationship with the divine. Think of it like this. Imagine you're going on a long journey. You wouldn't set off without packing essential supplies,
Right.
planning your route, and making sure you have enough fuel to reach your destination.
So preparing for the afterlife is like packing for that ultimate journey.
It is.
Making sure we have the spiritual provisions we need to make the journey successfully.
You've got it. And just like we invest time and effort in planning for a worldly journey,
Right.
we should invest even more time and effort in preparing for the journey to the hereafter.
Yeah.
And the Sunan al Tirmidhi provides us with the guidance we need to make those preparations.
There are also hadiths that offer comfort and solace to those who are grieving the loss of loved ones.
Absolutely. It reminds us that death is a natural part of life.
Yeah.
And that those who have passed on are in the care of Allah.
It encourages us to turn to Allah in our times of sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
to find strength and comfort in His mercy and compassion. It's a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we're not alone. Allah is always with us.
Imagine a child who's lost their way in a crowded market. They're scared, alone, and desperate to find their parents. But then they spot their father's familiar face in the crowd, and a wave of relief washes over them.
Yeah.
They run to their father, knowing that they're safe in his arms.
So even in our grief, we can find comfort in knowing that Allah, our ultimate protector and provider, is always there for us.
Exactly. We might feel lost and alone,
Right.
but we have to remember that Allah is closer to us than our own jugular vein.
Wow.
He hears our cries, He sees our pain, and He offers us comfort and solace in ways we might not even realize.
And the Sunan al Tirmidhi also provides guidance on how to cope with hardship and adversity.
Yes, it does.
It reminds us that challenges are an inevitable part of life and that they can be opportunities for spiritual growth and refinement.
Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is heated, hammered,
Okay.
and shaped through intense heat and pressure.
Hmm.
But it's through this process that the sword becomes strong, resilient, and capable of withstanding the toughest battles.
So challenges are like the fire and the hammer that shape us,
They are.
mold us, and make us stronger.
Precisely. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi provides us with the tools and the mindset we need to navigate those challenges successfully.
Right.
It teaches us the importance of patience, perseverance,
Right there.
and reliance on Allah. It encourages us to seek His guidance, to learn from our experiences,
Yeah.
and to never give up hope. It reminds us that hardship is temporary,
Right.
but the rewards for those who endure with patience are eternal.
It's about seeing those challenges not as punishments, but as opportunities for growth, for drawing closer to Allah,
Yeah.
and for developing qualities like resilience and gratitude.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about shifting our perspective, reframing those challenges as stepping stones on our spiritual journey.
I see.
It's about understanding that Allah doesn't burden a soul beyond what it can bear, and that with every hardship comes ease.
I remember reading a hadith about the Prophet Muhammad saying that the believers who face the most trials are the prophets,
Yes.
then those who are most like them, and so on. It's a reminder that challenges are a sign of Allah's love, and that he tests those whom He loves the most.
It's a profound concept that can change the way we view hardship. It's not about seeing ourselves as victims, but as chosen ones being purified and elevated through these trials.
And it's in those moments of difficulty that we often discover our true strength and resilience.
Yeah.
We learn to rely on Allah.
We do.
To seek His guidance and to tap into the inner resources that we didn't even know we had.
It's like a seed that's buried deep in the ground. It needs the pressure of the soil,
Yeah.
the darkness, and the struggle to push through and sprout into a beautiful plant.
Okay.
Similarly, it's often through those difficult times that our true potential emerges.
So those challenges are not meant to break us,
They're not.
but to help us blossom into the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi reminds us that we're not meant to go through these challenges alone.
Right.
We have our families, our communities,
Yeah.
and ultimately a lot to support us. It encourages us to reach out to others, to offer support and comfort to those who are struggling,
Right.
and to build a sense of collective strength and resilience.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, that we're all interconnected,
We are.
and that we have a responsibility to care for one another.
It's like a flock of birds flying in formation. They support each other. They share the burden of the journey.
And they work together to navigate the winds and storms.
So we're not meant to fly solo on this journey of life.
No, we're not.
We need to rely on each other,
Right.
support each other, and lift each other up.
You've got it. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi provides countless examples of the Prophet Muhammad and his companions embodying these qualities in their own lives. They were known for their generosity, their hospitality,
Right.
their forgiveness, and their willingness to go above and beyond to help those in need.
They set a high bar for what it means to live a life of compassion, and service. And their examples inspire us to strive to embody these qualities in our own interactions with others.
It's about recognizing that each of us has a role to play in creating a more compassionate, just, and loving world.
Yeah.
And it starts with those small, everyday acts of kindness that can make a world of difference.
Like offering a helping hand to a neighbor, listening attentively to a friend who's going through a difficult time.
Exactly.
Or simply smiling at a stranger.
Precisely. It's about those seemingly insignificant gestures that can brighten someone's day, ease their burden, and remind them that they're not alone.
And it's about remembering that every act of kindness, no matter how small, is a seed of goodness that we plant in the world.
Yes.
And those seeds, over time, can grow into a forest of compassion and love.
That's a beautiful image. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi provides us with the framework and the inspiration to do just that. It's a testament to the transformative power of faith.
It is.
To shape our hearts, our actions, and the world around us.
It's a guidebook for living a life of meaning and purpose.
Yes.
A roadmap for navigating the challenges of the human experience, and a source of timeless wisdom that continues to illuminate our paths today.
As we continue to explore its depths, we discover that it's filled with surprises, with hidden gems,
Right?
with profound insights that can transform our understanding of Islam and inspire us to live lives of greater faith, compassion, and service.
It's a journey of discovery that I invite all of our listeners to embark on. Take the time to study the Sunan al Tirmidhi, to reflect on its teachings,
Absolutely.
and to allow its wisdom to shape your own unique journey of faith.
And join us for the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll delve into even more fascinating aspects of this remarkable collection and explore how its teachings can continue to guide us in the 21st century and beyond.
We've been on quite a journey exploring the Sunan al Tirmidhi, haven't we? From the power of supplication to the stories of the prophets and companions.
It has been quite a journey.
It feels like we've only just scratched the surface of this incredible text.
It's amazing how each hadith we've discussed reveals layer upon layer of meaning.
Yeah.
And for this final part of our deep dive, I'm particularly drawn to the theme of balance that runs throughout the Sunan al Tirmidhi. It's not about going to extremes,
Right?
finding that middle path, that sweet spot where we can live a life that is both fulfilling and pleasing to Allah.
It reminds me of the saying, the best of affairs are those that are moderate. It seems like Islam emphasizes this concept of balance in all areas of life.
You're absolutely right. Islam is a religion of moderation, and the Sunan al Tirmidhi reflects this beautifully.
Yeah.
It encourages us to find equilibrium in every aspect of our lives, balancing worldly responsibilities with spiritual aspirations, individual needs with the needs of our communities, enjoying the blessings of this life while preparing for the hereafter.
It's almost like walking a tightrope, isn't it?
It is.
You have to find that steady footing, trust your balance, and move forward with purpose.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It perfectly captures the essence of this concept. It's not about denying ourselves the joys and blessings of this world, but approaching them with mindfulness, gratitude, and the awareness that everything we have is a gift from Allah.
Right.
Think of it like enjoying a delicious meal. You savor each bite, appreciate the flavors, and feel grateful for the nourishment it provides. You don't overindulge to the point of feeling sick. Similarly, we should approach the blessings of this world with moderation, enjoying them without letting them consume us or distract us from our ultimate purpose.
That makes perfect sense.
It does.
It's about appreciating those blessings without becoming attached to them or letting them define our worth.
Exactly. And it's also about recognizing that our time in this world is finite. We're here for a purpose. And the Sunan al Tirmidhi reminds us to make the most of our time.
Yeah.
To strive to live a life aligned with that purpose and to leave a positive legacy behind.
It's about making each day count, isn't it? Not just drifting through life, but actively seeking to make a difference, however small, in the world around us.
You've got it. And speaking of striving for a greater purpose, I'm reminded of a beautiful hadith where the Prophet Muhammad is asked about the best of deeds. He responds by saying, to believe in Allah and His Messenger, then to strive in His cause, then to perform Hajj, and then to free a slave. It's a powerful statement that outlines a hierarchy of actions, starting with the foundation of faith, and then moving outwards to encompass actions that benefit both ourselves and others.
It's interesting how it begins with belief.
Yeah.
It's like saying that everything we do should stem from that core belief in Allah and His Messenger.
Precisely. It highlights that outward actions are only as good as the intentions behind them.
Right.
And it emphasizes the importance of striving in the cause of Allah, which goes beyond just physical fighting. It encompasses standing up for justice, speaking truth to power, utilizing our talents and resources to make a positive impact, and working to improve our communities.
It's about taking action, isn't it? Putting our faith into practice and using our abilities to serve a greater purpose.
Absolutely. And then the Hadith mentions Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. It's such a powerful symbol of submission to Allah and our unity as a global Muslim community.
Right.
It's a journey that takes us out of our comfort zones, challenges us physically and spiritually, and reminds us of our shared humanity and common purpose.
It's like a reset button, isn't it? A chance to step away from the distractions of everyday life, reconnect with our faith, and renew our commitment to Allah.
Beautifully put. And finally, the Hadith mentions freeing a slave, which highlights the importance of social justice in Islam.
I see.
It's about liberating those who are oppressed and creating a more equitable and just society for all. It reminds us that our faith isn't just about personal piety, but about actively working towards the well-being of others and creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
It's a reminder that our actions have consequences, and
Right.
we have a responsibility to use our freedoms to advocate for those who are less fortunate or who are being treated unjustly.
Exactly. And when we perform these actions with sincerity and for the sake of Allah, they contribute to that balance, that harmonious way of living that the Sunan al Tirmidhi encourages.
Right.
It's a holistic approach that encompasses our beliefs, our actions, and our impact on the world around us.
It's about understanding that every aspect of our lives is interconnected and that our choices have ripple effects. It's about being conscious of those choices and striving to live a life that reflects our values and our commitment to Allah.
And remember, the Sunan al Tirmidhi is an invaluable guide on this journey. It's a source of knowledge, inspiration, and practical wisdom to navigate life's complexities and draw closer to Allah.
It's a testament to the enduring power of prophetic traditions to speak to our hearts, challenge our minds, and inspire us to live meaningful and balanced lives.
It's a gift that we can keep returning to, finding new insights and inspiration each time we do.
I encourage all our listeners to make the Sunan al Tirmidhi a part of their spiritual journey.
Explore its depths, reflect on its teachings, and allow its wisdom to guide you.
Never underestimate the transformative power of these prophetic traditions.
Right.
They can change our hearts, minds, actions, and ultimately the world around us. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Sunan al Tirmidhi. May its teachings inspire us all to live lives of balance, purpose, and devotion to Allah. Until next time, may peace and blessings be upon you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.